There's a secret code within you that makes you who you are. A blueprint that not only determines your physical attributes, like the color of your eyes, the texture of your hair, but also your susceptibility to certain diseases. Or perhaps it even influences your personality traits, your talents, and your passions. What if you were told that you carry this code within you every moment, in every cell of your body? The answer lies in a remarkable molecule called DNA. DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is like a blueprint of life. This blueprint is not an architectural drawing, but a complex biological map that gives each organism its unique traits. Imagine DNA as a long, twisted ladder known as a double helix. The sides of this ladder are made of sugar and phosphate molecules, providing structural support. The rungs, however, are where the magic happens. These are made up of pairs of 4 chemicals: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, often abbreviated as A, T, C, and G. These pairs, A with T and C with G, form the basis of our genetic code. But how does this genetic code function? The sequence of these base pairs is like a language that instructs cells in our body. Each cell reads this code and produces proteins, the building blocks of our bodies. These proteins determine everything from the color of our eyes to our susceptibility to certain diseases. Interestingly, DNA doesn't just stay within the confines of one organism. It's passed down from parents to offspring, serving as a biological inheritance. The combination of DNA from both parents results in a unique sequence for each individual, with the exception of identical twins. This is why siblings can share certain traits like curly hair or a knack for music, yet still be distinct individuals. But DNA isn't just about passing traits down, it's also about survival and adaptation. Over time, DNA can change or mutate, leading to new traits that might help an organism survive better in its environment. These evolutionary changes, driven by DNA, have led to the diverse array of life we see on our planet today. In essence, DNA is the master molecule of our identity. It's the biological journal that records our past, shapes our present, and even influences our future. As we unravel the secrets of this remarkable molecule, we come closer to understanding the very essence of life itself. But DNA doesn't work alone. It has a partner in crime called RNA, or ribonucleic acid. Just like DNA, RNA is a long chain of nucleotides, but it's usually single-stranded, not double-stranded like DNA. The structure of RNA is what allows it to perform its main function, protein synthesis. Let's break that down. In the grand scheme of things, DNA contains the instructions, like a master blueprint for building a human body. But it doesn't build anything itself. Enter RNA. RNA is like a construction worker who reads the blueprint and builds according to the instructions. It does this by carrying the genetic information from the DNA to the machinery in our cells that makes proteins. RNA and DNA also differ in a few other ways. For instance, in RNA, the sugar ribose replaces deoxyribose found in DNA, and instead of the base thymine, RNA contains uracil. RNA is the messenger that carries out DNA's instructions. It's the crucial link between the DNA's instructions and the proteins that make us who we are. Now that we understand DNA and RNA, how do scientists actually extract DNA? Well, it's a fascinating process. Imagine you're in a kitchen. Only instead of baking a cake, you're extracting DNA. The ingredients? A sample containing cells, a pinch of salt, dish soap, and some cold alcohol. Here's the recipe. First, we take our sample. This could be anything from a piece of fruit to a cheek swab. We mash it up, breaking down the physical structure of the cells. You see, our DNA is locked away in the nucleus of our cells, and we need to get it out. Next, we add some salt. The salt helps to break down the cell membranes, which are essentially fatty barriers. It's like using hot water to wash greasy dishes. It's all about making the DNA accessible. Then comes the dish soap. The soap further breaks down those fatty cell membranes and also dissolves the nuclear membranes. It's like popping the lock on a treasure chest. Finally, we add cold alcohol. The DNA doesn't dissolve in alcohol, so it forms a layer that we can see and collect. It's like fishing for the prize at the bottom of a cereal box. Remember, we're oversimplifying for the sake of understanding. In a lab, the process involves more precise methods, specific enzymes, and controlled conditions. But the basic principles remain the same. With the right tools and methods, DNA can be isolated and studied. Knowing the code of life opens up endless possibilities, but what can we do with DNA? DNA, this intricate molecule, the blueprint of life, has applications that reach far beyond just making us who we are. In the field of medicine, DNA plays a pivotal role. It's like a detective helping us identify genetic disorders and diseases by analyzing an individual's DNA. By understanding the DNA mutations that cause diseases, we can develop targeted therapies and even predict the risk of diseases in future generations. In the world of genetics, DNA is fundamental. It's the core of genetic testing, which can reveal ancestry, family connections, and even the likelihood of certain traits. It's like a time machine, transporting us back to our roots and giving us a glimpse of who we might become. Forensics too leans heavily on DNA. It's the silent witness at a crime scene, providing evidence that either convicts or exonerates. DNA fingerprinting, as it's called, can accurately identify individuals involved in a crime, making it an invaluable tool in the justice system. Then there's genetic engineering, where DNA takes on the role of an architect. Scientists can manipulate DNA to create genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, which have a multitude of applications, from pest-resistant crops to biofuel production. And with the advent of technologies like CRISPR, we're on the verge of being able to edit DNA sequences in living organisms, potentially curing genetic diseases and improving human health in ways we could only dream of. So, what can we do with DNA? The better question might be, what can't we do? It's the key to understanding life, its past, its present, and its future. It's a window into our health, our heritage, our very being. It's a tool for justice, a guide for innovation, and a beacon for the betterment of human society. From curing diseases to solving crimes, DNA is a powerful tool. And as we continue to decode its secrets, who knows what other possibilities will unlock? Every person's DNA is unique, but what makes it unique? And are DNA and genes the same thing? Let's dive into this fascinating world of our genetic makeup. DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is like a recipe book for our bodies. It contains all the instructions needed for us to grow, survive, and reproduce. But it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of book. Each of us has a unique DNA sequence, making us distinct from everyone else in the world. This uniqueness arises from the concept of individual genetic variation. You see, our DNA is made up of over 3 billion base pairs, and even a tiny variation in these pairs can lead to significant differences. For example, the difference between humans and chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, is just about 1% of our DNA. Now, let's clear some confusion. Are DNA and genes the same thing? Well, not exactly. Genes are sections of DNA that carry the code for a specific function or trait. Picture your DNA as a massive library, and genes are the individual books within that library. Each book or gene contains a unique story or instruction that contributes to the overall narrative of who you are. A single gene could determine your eye color, while another could influence your height. Some genes might even determine your susceptibility to certain diseases. But remember, genes are not destiny. They merely lay out potentialities, which can be influenced by other factors like environment and lifestyle. It's also important to note that not all DNA is made up of genes. Some sections of DNA have other roles, like regulating when and how genes are used, while others are still a mystery to scientists. So while DNA is the overall blueprint, genes are specific instructions within that blueprint. This incredible world of DNA and genes is a testament to the complexity and beauty of life.